In this video, we're going to look at how we can select multiple files and folders on the Mac. I'm going to show you using macOS Ventura. Now, the techniques I'm going to show you will work not only within the Finder where you can select your files and folders, but also within different apps such as the Photos app. Now, before we get started, I am Dan from Dan's Tutorials. I create easy-to-follow video tutorials for the Mac, iPad, iPhone, Apple Watch, and Apple TV. You can find these all over at danstutorials.com. All right, let's get back to why you are here. Let's see how we can select multiple files on the Mac. Let's go to my Mac. All right, so we're looking at my Mac here. I'm looking at my Finder window, and again, I am using macOS Ventura. But if you are using an older version of macOS, these same techniques will work. All right, so how can we select multiple files? When I go over to this file here in my Finder, it's selected. We can see that it is blue. But now when I want to select another one, it deselects the previous one. Well, that's not what I want to do. I want to select both of them. How can I do that? Well, the way that you do that is by holding down the Command key, which is next to your space bar. So what I can do is I can select this file here, and I can select this beach file here, and if I hold down the Command key, watch what happens. It selects both of them. I want to select this folder here. We can also select folders. I hold down the Command key and select it, and now we can see that all three of those are selected. We can also use this technique to deselect. So let's say I no longer want to include this folder here. If I hold down the Command key and then I click, it only deselects that one folder, that one file, and I still have the other two selected. Now what I'm able to do is take these and move them to a different folder or move them to a different drive. Now we can also select consecutive files and folders. Let's say I wanted to select this folder here or this file here, and I wanted to go and select all of the files down to this one here. Now, one way of doing that is by holding down the Command key and clicking on them. But if you have a lot of files, that can take up a lot of time, and you may accidentally open them up. That's what I will usually do. I'll click, and then all of a sudden it thinks it's a double click, and it'll open them up. That's not what I want to do. I just want to select them. Well, what you could do is just drag them, so I'm going to select them and drag. Now, in order to do that, what you need to do is make sure that you click outside of the title here. Otherwise, what you're going to do is drag that file. So you go outside here, and then when I click and drag, we can see that it selected all of those. But my favorite way is actually using the Shift key. When I go and select my first file here, and then if I hold down the Shift key, watch what happens. I go down to Beach here. I'm going to hold down the Shift key. I click on it. It selected every file in between there. Now, let's say I wanted to deselect a single file in here. How do you think I could do that? Well, we go back to our Command key. So now I no longer want to have this untitled 5 in here, but I want to keep all the other ones selected. If I hold down the Command key and click on it, it deselects that one file, and it keeps all the other ones selected. Now I want to add that folder back in there. All I have to do is just go down to Photos here, hold down the Command key, and I click, and now that one is selected. So to select multiple files, it's just a combination of the Command key and the Shift key. Now, I mentioned in the introduction that this works outside of the Finder. You can even use this with Photos. Let's go and take a look at this in the Photos app. So I'm going to close this, and we're going to go to the Photos app. This does work in other apps. I'm going to go to my library here, and what I would like to do is select this photo here, and then also this photo here, but nothing in between. How do we do that? Well, I hold down the Command key and I click. We can see that this one is selected. It has the blue border around it. And then I go over to the right here. I hold down the Command key and click, and now we can see that that is selected, that photo is selected, and this photo is selected, but none of the other photos are selected. I also want to select this one here. If I hold down the Command key and I click, we can see that that one is selected. It has a blue border. You can barely see it there. while this one is selected and this one is selected. I want to deselect one of them. All I do is hold down the Command key and I click on it. This one is no longer selected, while this one is still selected, as well as this one. Let's see how it works with the Shift key. I want to select this folder here, or this image here, and I want to select this image here, and all of the images in between. All I have to do is just hold down the Shift key. We can see that this one is still selected. I hold down the Shift key. I go over to the right, click on it, and now all of these are selected. And again, just like with the Finder, if I want to deselect one of them, let's go ahead and deselect this one here. All I do is just hold down the Command key, click on it. That one is no longer selected, but all the other ones are. Let's see how it works in reminders. I'm going to go to my reminders here, and we're going to look at all of my reminders. I have this one selected. I also want to select number 5. Hold down the Command key. It selects number 5, and it keeps number 2 selected. Let's go to 9. Hold down the Command key. It is now selected. I deselect number 5. I want to select everything in between. I go to 2. I go down to 9, holding down the Shift key, and it selects everything in between. I hold down the Command key to deselect number 5. So as you can see, it works across multiple apps. So basically, to select multiple files, all you have to do is just use a combination between your Command key, which is next to the spacebar, and the Shift key. The Command key will allow you to select individual files or images or whatever you are selecting, depends on what app you're in. It could be cells in Excel or numbers. But just hold down the Command key to select what you want, or if it's already selected, it'll deselect it. If you want to select consecutive items, what you need to do is hold down the Shift key. And then if you want to deselect any of those consecutive items, you can go back to the Command key and then deselect. So that is how we select multiple items on the Mac with macOS Ventura. And again, it basically works the same way if you're using an older version of macOS. So if you're using macOS Monterey, you can still use these same key combinations. So that's how you can select multiple items on the Mac.